Welcome back. What's going on, guys? Today we're gonna talk about plotted LMS. Plotted LMS is a hard machine released recently in TryHackMe website. So this is what you wanted. This is a hard machine. So let's first start with the stages that we are gonna go through in the practical scenario and try to explain the concepts behind each step. Okay. So as always, we start with the port scan. So we perform Nmap port scan and you will find numerous ports. So first you will find port 22 for SSH, and you will find port 80 for, as you know, hey HTTP. So you have a website running. You'll also find 873, port 873 open, and on this port there is a Docker container running. Additionally, we have two open ports, 8820. On this port we have learning system, so we can say it's learning system. You can access it through the web. And lastly, the port on which the challenge was built, it is 9020. On this port we have a Moodle instance running. Now, what is Moodle? So you can Google it. Through a bit of Googling, you will find that Moodle is a learning management system where you get to create a course and enroll students. Students will be able to access your course by enrolling, and you can create several courses. You can create a university account, an institution account, or a single account for yourself. So that is what is Moodle. It's an open source, by the way. That's why you see it has been used in this challenge. So this is for the port scanning. Now, after we find that after we go through all of these ports, we start actually with the learning system and the Moodle. But if we run directory search on this, you will find that there is a directory /Moodle. So under this directory, you will be able to access the Moodle instance. So what's gonna happen here? Through a bit of enumeration, we actually find that the version of Moodle is vulnerable to a CVE. So from this step, port scanning to Moodle exploitation, we actually come up with two outcomes. The first outcome is that Moodle is vulnerable. Okay. Now, the other outcome is that Moodle, the exploitation of Moodle can be done using two methods. So Moodle is vulnerable. What do we do now? We're gonna exploit Moodle. We have two options. The first one here is manual, and the other one is automated. So you have manual and you have automated. So basically, in the manual method, what's gonna happen, guys, is that you will escalate your access level, let me say it, in this site from learner. So you log in as learner, okay, and then you escalate to teacher. So now you own a course. Now from teacher you escalate to course manager, okay, and from course manager you escalate into site admin. Now, these steps can be done manually, or there is an exploit ready to be used. So technically you just use the Python exploit. Now, once you do that, you will be able to get the first foothold. So here, from these, let's drag an arrow. So we are now at the system. So the next step now is to conduct the privilege escalation. So we elevate the privileges from non-privileged user, so we enter as data. All the time we enter as user, as this is the web server user, the web user that is used by the web server, Apache namely. Now if we want to escalate to privilege to another user, so what's gonna happen here, we have a cron job that's running another Python script. The Python script is backup dot py. It's Python exploit, I remember. So through this we're gonna be able then to escalate from data into another user. I cannot remember the username, so we're gonna see that in action once we step into the practical scenario. Okay, so then we are here some user, so a user here, right? Now the next step is to escalate from user to root. We want to be root. So we also find that there are 2 jobs running every 1 minute, one of which is Logrotate. So Logrotate is a Linux program that is used to manage and handle logs using a configuration file. Now the issue with Logrotate is that you can exploit what is called as race condition. So here, race condition. So in the race condition, we have 3 items on the list that need to be met. The first one, okay, we should have access to the location where the logs are stored or managed. So access to the log file or the log file path. Let me call it log file path. That's the first item that we need to, or the first condition or the criterion that we need to meet. The next one is that in the log file, so you know Logrotate uses a log file to handle the logs. In the log file you specify how you will handle the logs. The methods in the log file should be either create or copy or compress. We're going to see an example of Logrotate configuration file once we step into the practical scenario. So when we examine the configuration file of Logrotate, if we see that it is using create, copy or compress, and if we have access, write access to the log file path, and the last one, Logrotate should be run as root. If we have met all of these 3 conditions, we can execute what is called as the race condition. After executing the race condition, we will be able to create a reverse shell. So the outcome here is to create a reverse shell under this directory e/etc/bash completion .d. Dot. Okay. Only after we do this, we will be able to reroute. So all of this can be done using a single script as well. We're gonna see it when we do the practical scenario. Alright, so what do we do now? We're gonna now step and apply what we have learned. Okay, so I'm gonna exit my board. This is the machine, by the way. So in the machine we have, after we do all of what we have talked about, we have to provide the user flag and the root flag. Okay, let's see. So open the browser and I'm going to open perp suite, as we will need this later. So this is the nmap scan. Make sure to scan all the ports. As you can see, we have 5 ports, and the browser just covered my view. I'm gonna do this. Okay, so these are the 5 open ports. You can go ahead and go through every single one, but to make the story short, we're gonna just start right off the bat with port 9020. So let's copy the IP 9220, And as you can see, it is a default Apache page. So what you will do here, every time you see this page, or every time we stumble upon a page where we cannot find anything sensible to start the enumeration phase, we resort to directory brute force. So if we run go buster, all right, I'm not gonna run this now because it's not the point of this video. It's not a beginner challenge. It's assumed that if you are doing this challenge, you know how to run go buster, so, or directory buster. So you'll find that there is a directory called Moodle. Perp suite is an opening. Okay, so now we see, as you can see, this is the page. We see breakdown of the available courses, and this is a section for teachers only. So the story starts when you first log in or create an account. So you have to create an account as a student first. So enter a username, a password, oops, I think I have hit a wrong key. Okay, the email should be at plotted.thm. That's the only acceptable domain to register. And here I type my name, anything, whatever, Istanbul. Okay. Confirm your account by clicking on continue. Let's make sure perp is running well. I'm gonna need this. Alright, continue. So this is the site. So what you will do, guys, now you're gonna start the enumeration phase. That's why there is a tool called Moodle Scan. You can find it here. I'm gonna clone the repo to my machine. So we're gonna right off the bat scan this. So sudo git clone. Okay, so Moodle scan, and this is the script test. This is the test. This is the one. So sudo python 3 Moodle scan -u, and we specify the path to the Moodle instance. Now only through this scan we will be able to get the version. So getting Moodle version found via admin tool, etc. Moodle version 3.9.0. So a bit of research on Google, guys, you will find that this version is vulnerable to the user escalation attack. So how do you find this? We're going to go to Google and say Moodle v3.9. It's here actually, autocomplete. Yep. So it is remote code execution, but it is authenticated. Now alternatively, if this link is not working for you guys, you can it works. So this is the exploit, and there is a repo for this one if you want to copy that. So in order for this to run, guys, we need an authenticated access. We already have one using a student, right? So we can go to the GitHub here, GitHub repo, and explore. What do we have? CVE. So here it is. Python script. Course enrollments allowed privilege escalation from teacher role into a manager, or into manager role, and then from manager to RCE. Teachers of a course were able to assign themselves the manager role within that course. So why do we do all of this, the series of escalations from student to teacher and to manager? Because at the end, guys, we need the capability to upload plugins or files of our own choosing. If we are a student, we won't be able to do that. That's why we go through the series of privilege escalation in order to be able to upload plugins, just like we used to do when we exploit WordPress or any CMS. We want the ability to upload plugins or PHP files, Python files, whatever you want to call it. So the method here is that we can do that using the automated method. So basically what we have to do, run this, right? Here if you want to use a cookie, but what we're going to do here, we have username and password, so we stick with this method. We run the exploit and we provide the username and password that we have just provided when we first registered. That's one way of doing this. The alternative way is to do it manually. So if we go back, now I am a student. So the next step now is to escalate to teacher. So we're going to go to site home, click on teachers only, and choose to enroll, right? Once I click to enroll, as you can see, you are now enrolled in the course, and right now I am a teacher because this section is reserved for teachers only. So right now we have done the first escalation step. The next one now is to escalate to course manager. So to do that, we're going to need to enroll students as managers. So we go to participants, and from here we're going to need to start the perp suite. So target proxy intercept is on. Okay, we're not going to need this for now, off. Now click on enroll users. Okay, now back to on. So here we select the user. As you can see, I'm going to select my user. I forgot this. Cancel. Enroll. Okay, this is the first request. Forward. No need. Now we select the student. Another one, not this one. Forward. Okay, now we're going to select on enroll, and now we have, as you can see, the request here. So on this, let's read through this. Enroll manual Ajax, and we have here a couple parameters. Gonna click on forward, and then we have this one for the service. Let's see, what do we have? If you have something to change, we're looking to change the role of the user. So in order to be the course manager, you have to have the role ID 1. Right now we don't see this here, so we're going to click on forward. Let's take a look at this request. Again, not this one, not this one, and I am enrolled. I think this is not the way to do that. I'm going to go back and delete this. Okay, and again I'm going to turn this on from the beginning. Enroll. Okay, forward. Selecting my user. Okay, forward. Oh, it doesn't exist. Let's see. I think I'm gonna have to remove this entirely from here. And I think I'm gonna have to go back to the dashboard and enroll back as teacher. Yeah, the instance actually sometimes behaves weird, so you're gonna need to be patient with this machine. You may need to reset the machine several times. That's the thing with hard machines. So participants, Okay, back here. Enroll. Forward this. Selecting my user and clicking on enroll. Let's see. Alright, so here I'm looking, this is the one. So here is the enroll mechanism, and here I'm looking for a way to change the role of my user. Normally it is in the parameters. So action, enroll ID, it's 7, user list, role to assign. So the role to assign is now 5 for teachers. You're gonna have to make this one to be a course manager according to the documentation, and now you hit forward. Technically you need to, you no longer need purpose suite for now, so you're gonna off this one. So now I am manager or teacher. So right now I am the course manager. So what I need to do now, I need to escalate from course manager to site-wide administrator. So to do this, as you can see, we have 3 users for now: the Moodle teacher, me as a course manager, and this is the administrator. We're gonna click on John, and according to Moodle, we then need to log in as administrator. So log in as administrator. Right now we can see ourselves as you can see, you are logged in as John Doe. So your next step now is to take a look at your capabilities, or what are the things that you can do. So we go to site administration, and we go to plugins. As you can see, we cannot upload plugins, so we have to find a way to escalate to plugins. So according to the exploit, we go to site administration and users, and here we look for the roles. So the manager is the highest level. We click on edit. Now once we click on edit, we have several stuff to work with here, but we don't need to do any of this. What we can do here, we can turn on purpose suite and insert the payload in the exploit page. So we go back here. This is for what? Yeah, so basically here, this is the module scan. Yeah, not this one. No, this is the module scan. We need to look for the payload. So this is the payload. Now this payload, we use this one once we click on save changes from here. So I'm gonna turn this back on, and I'm not gonna change anything in here, right? I'm just gonna save changes. Now once we click on save changes, the request will be intercepted by perp, and we will be able to put the payload in the exploit page. Save, and as you can see here, this is the payload that we need to change. This line here, okay, starting line 15, includes all of the permissions of the current user. So in the payload or in the exploit page, if we replace the current one with this one, it will allow us to install plugins. So I'm gonna click this one or copy that, and starting from the ampersand, remove all of this. It's a long one. And gonna paste. All right, so now we forward this. All right, let's give it a bit. All right, now let's make sure that we have done this successfully. So we go back to site administration, we head to plugins. Hopefully the machine hasn't crashed. I can see symptoms of crashing, so it's taking long to open. Oh my goodness. I don't think it's gonna be easy to repeat or to redo all of the steps we have done. So the machine isn't responding, guys. That's the frustrating thing about doing machines. Users, dashboard, please open. How about we copy that and we try to access the page one more time. Yep, so the machine has crashed. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. Okay, so I restarted the machine. Hopefully it will be the last time I need to restart the machine. So let's now, I repeated the same steps for you guys, no need to rewatch the video. So I'm gonna go to dash site administration now. I'm gonna see if we have access now to plugins. So indeed we have access, but this is not enough. We need to be able to upload plugins. So up plugins, and now we can install plugins. So according to Moodle documentation, there is a way or a method to install plugins. So the plugins should be in PHP extension first, and it needs to contain version of the plugin. So the plugin that we will create is simple. It's just PHP plugin that will execute bash and will connect back to us as a reverse shell, and the version will be anything else you want. So we go back now to the command line. Okay, let's create a directory called exploit. So cd to exploit. Now under this directory we create first another directory called language. Okay, now under exploit we have one directory called language. Now under exploit we can have now to create the version of our plugin. So nano version. Okay, so we start with PHP start, and then we actually tell Moodle this is a plugin. So plugin, I'm gonna need the arrow here, so let's see. Okay, version could be anything you want. So 20, 200. Let's see if we can take an example. Moodle plugins. Plugin type stats. So these are the most common plugins. We can search for one and take a look at the version example. So Moodle mail test, Moodle adminer, static pages. Let's see here one example. iSpring suit, interactive content. We can read one plugin where we can see the version. So let me type Moodle plugin version. Here it is. So these are the plugins. One of the plugins, message my teacher, and this is the version 20. So how many digits? We have 3, 6, 9, 10 digits. So we go back here and we type 10 digits exactly. So 20, let's say 20, and then 290. Okay, 280, and then we need 2 numbers. So this is the version, and again we say that it's a plugin, and this now it's a component, which is the name of the actual name of the plugin, component. So here comes the name of the exploit, could be exploit, only exploit, and put semicolon. So this is it. Now we have the version ready. We go to language, and here we create the exploit. So nano exploit. Alright, so we start with PHP and we grab reverse shell. Bash reverse shell is enough. So we're gonna grab this from my node file, which you can access through the membership. So again, as always, the reverse shell file has been deleted by my Windows Defender, so I'm gonna have again to reopen the file or restore the file. So we will restore this. Yes, and let's look for this bash one. This one. Let's take this, head back. Now we say execute, and say bash or bin bash, define the absolute path, -c, and inside this we put in the reverser. So we need now again the IP address of my machine, and here is my port. I always get asked why you choose 4545. It's just my preference. You can choose your own port, whatever it is. Okay. Alright, so my exploit now is ready. Last step now is to zip the file, since Moodle accepts plugins only in zip extension. So zip exploit zip exploit. Stored 0%. Why is that? File exploit zip, at least version to extract. I think, let me move this file into desktop and extract it there. I want to make sure that the compressed file contains the content I wanted. So ls unzip exploit cd exploit. Yep, it's empty. So we need to go back and figure out why. cd exploit language version. Let's take a look at the permissions. So it's owned by me. So what might need to do here to add -r to be able to traverse the directory, since we are zipping an entire directory. So we're gonna say zip -r exploit.zip and define the directory. And this time it worked. Okay then, so let's now say nclvp 4545, go back here and install plugins. And from here we're gonna upload the plugin. Alright, so choose a file, upload the file, browse to TryHackMe, and then this is the file. Open, upload this file, and install plugin from the zip file. So we have a problem here, unable to detect the plugin type. Let's choose a random type. You can choose anything, and choose block and install. Validating block exploit error. Plugin doesn't declare its component name. Block exploit. So we may need to rename this to block exploit. Let's see. Honestly, I haven't tried the manual method, guys. I'm just doing it for you here. If it would come to me, I would do it through the automated method. So exploit cd lang, or let's modify the version and make this as block underscore exploit, right? Yeah. And then rename the exploit to block underscore exploit. Alright, so back one more time. rm sudo rm exploit.zip. We're gonna need to rezip this one more time. The password. Okay, so zip -r. Alright, I hope it will work now. Choose file, upload, browse. So I'm going to select the plugin type from now so it won't complain about this. And install. Missing language folder, null. Did I miss the language folder, guys? Nope. Lang. So I think here it means that we need to specify the language. So under lang, if we go to lang, we need to say make directory en and move block exploit to en. Okay. Sudo rm exploit.zip zip -r. Okay, nclvp. Now hopefully now we will see positive results. Cancel. What's that? Yeah, show more. Block. Validating block exploit. Okay, validation successful. Any session can continue. So now I should receive the reverse shell. So prior to clicking continue, we're gonna need to have this running. Run. Yep, give it to me. Give it to me. Now, if this method didn't work for you, but it should, obviously it has to do with the machine. As you can see, I have restarted the machine several times. The machine isn't stable. So we're going to try the other method, which is the automated exploit. cdcve. Alright, so the way to go is we define first the URL. There are a couple of things that need to be changed inside the exploit. So nano CVE. So here, the first one is that we have to add one parameter to the headers. So here we're going to add referrer. Okay, so adding the referrer will be عيد وفتاء مشان اليوتيوب. So here put the URL and again where there is mention for getting a session, for example here as you can see r equals session.get, we're gonna have to add the headers as well. So slash equal or comma equal headers equal headers, and let's see what else we have to modify. Again, in the privilege escalation manager course Here also you get to change the headers. Save, and now we can run this. So sudo python 3 cve-url. We specify the URL of the current instance, -u username -password, and lastly the command to execute. Let's say id. At the end, it should give us a URL through which we will start the exploitation phase. Let me take a look here. Oh, so on the side here, fortunately for us, we received the shell finally, as you can see. Let's wait for this. Okay, while the automated exploit is working, let's now explore the machine. So ID, and we are data. All right, so if we go to, or if we cat the cron tab, etc cron tab, now we will see here that we have one cron job running, which is this one. So there is a script that's in use under the backups. Not this one, sorry, this one. The plot admin, actually there's a cron job under the plot admin that's running, and it's running the backup script. Let's take a look at the backup script, guys. So cat all right, so it's a Python script, and if we read through the script, guys, we can see that it is taking backups, website backups on this location, and it is storing the location here. The backups are stored here and taken from here. OS system, user bin, rm, backup location, and then we have this for file in files, OS system. So it's copying, here is the copying process. So it's copying the files to the backup location. Notice the criteria of the file naming here. So we have to take a look at the, pay attention to the double quotes, single quotes, the file parameter as well. So this one here is used as a directory in the script. So what we can do here, guys, in order to escalate the privileges, we're gonna have to create, we're gonna have to make sure that we have access or write access to this directory. If we have, we can create a couple files, couple payloads, and they will be copied to this location. So when they are copied, due to the naming formula here, they will be actually executed. So what we're gonna have to do now, we're gonna have to navigate to this directory and see if we have access, write access. So file directory, as you can see, we have actually the right access on this. So this is security misconfiguration. So now cd to file directory. All right, let's now create a file to be copied, okay, from this location, and taking into consideration the double quotes, single quotes, and the slash, and the fact that the file is used as directory here. So touch, so one slash, and then we have one single quote, two double quotes, semicolon, and then we define the value of the file that we create as a variable. So basically we say it's cp, and then what we're gonna do, the file that we'll create, it's actually bash, only bash, and we will give the file sudo bit, and then we'll be able to execute this as the plot Okay, so when we inspect the current processes and the current running process, we see, as you can see here, we have this one, user local bin logrotate, and this is the configuration file of the logrotate. -f is the option where you specify the configuration file, and then we see this connecting using root and etc bash completion. So what we are about to do here, this one is repeated every minute. This job is repeated every minute. So we're gonna see if Logrotate has a vulnerability and if we can use it to exploit it to our advantage. So now, knowing all of that, let's now take a look at the version of the Logrotate. Okay, the objective of doing that, we want to see if this version is actually vulnerable to the race condition attack. So logrotate -- version, and the current version is 3.15.0. So what we're about to do here, we're gonna go to Google and say logrotate version 3.15 race condition. Okay, this is the page. So what you are about to do, guys, you're gonna download this repo to my own machine. So sudo git clone cd log, and we have this C file now. So let's compile this file, gcc-o log rotten, okay, and specify the source file. Let's put sudo to this command. I don't want any complaints about the permissions. Okay, great. So now we will take this, let's give it execution permissions. Log written. Oh my god. Okay. File log written. Okay. So sudo python 3-m. Already in use. Yeah. Okay. So now pwd wget, and my IP address is here. /log rotten. Okay, so we have log rotten here. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, we want to create a payload first. So the payload will be, as always, we're gonna try to append bin bash and give it sudo bit permissions. So echo chmod xs x for execution, s for sudo bit set, bin bash into, call it payload. So we have the payload, we have log rotten now. Now, if we go back to the page here, the way to do that is we specify the payload and the log location. We know that the payload, okay, so this is the payload, and the log location, we know that from the configuration file. I think we need to scroll up, but it was somewhere. So if we type here one more time, log rotten -p, the payload that we have created, and then we specify the log location. It was home_plot admin, and this was actually, I knew the log location from the output of PSPY64. So /logs backups Moodle access. permission denied chmod plus x log rotten and execute this. Okay, so now next step now is to try to execute the payload. So not this payload, based on the content of the payload that we have created is actually bin bash. And since we appended sudo bit permission to bin bash, we can try now and execute bin bash as the following: bin bash -p id. If the machine crashed, I want to kill myself. I'm not going to repeat the machine one more time. So I hope we get a response. So no response from the machine up until now. Yeah, this machine is unstable, guys. I'm very sorry for this. Let's give it a minute to respond, and we can actually find out if the machine has crashed if we try to navigate to this URL and go to Moodle. If the Moodle instance has crashed, or if it's crashed, I'm not going to be able to access the page. Let's see if I can access the page, and yes, the machine crashed. But hopefully guys, when you do this, you will be able to get the root ID, and then you'll be able to get the root flag. So I'm not going to do this again one more time just for the sake of this step. So I hope you guys found this video enjoyable and engaging, and please take a big note. If you want to do this machine yourself, take a big note that the machine isn't stable. It crashes too many times. So it's a frustrating experience, but at the same time it was a great learning experience. So thank you for watching.